The highest court in the land will decide the fate of affirmative action, what we're learning about the arguments before the Supreme Court. Plus, we'll tell you why a university is axing plans to build a racial justice centre on campus. And we're learning more about the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband. We'll get reactions to the attack from political leaders and others. Welcome to Our World, I'm Stephen Walker. The US Supreme Court is hearing a case that could end affirmative action as we know it at colleges and universities. Justices are considering whether administrators can use race as a factor in admissions. Challengers are targeting minority admissions programs at Harvard and University of North Carolina, saying they violate equal protection and are discriminatory. Schools have relied on legal precedent for decades to achieve educational benefits. They say that flow from a diverse student body. But like Roe v. Wade, the new conservative-leaning justice appointed by former President Trump may be ready to break precedent again. In Penn State, they are cancelling plans to open its Centre for Racial Justice. The initiative was announced after George Floyd's murder in a response to claims the school routinely failed to hire and retain black faculty. Penn State says it will take the money earmarked for the centre and reallocate it to diversity and inclusion efforts already in place. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter, Bernice King, criticised the move, saying diversity efforts are not the same as working to end racism. The current president says her new plan will allow the school to grow its impact in research around racial bias. The San Francisco District Attorney is rejecting conspiracy theories about the attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband. Paul Pelosi remains hospitalized but is recovering. His attacker will be facing state and federal charges. The Advocate Channel's John Lornick reports.
Madam Speaker, how's your husband doing?
It's an incident that has lawmakers shaken nationwide.
What happened to Speaker Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi, is just, it's horrific. And it's horrible, and it shouldn't happen anywhere.
David DePape is accused of breaking into the Pelosi home in San Francisco on Friday, fracturing Paul Pelosi's skull and injuring his arm and hands.
We've got to say, we can have a heated conversation about the issues, but this violence has got to stop.
A spokesperson says Paul Pelosi is expected to make a full recovery, but the House Speaker says the alleged attack has left her family heartbroken and traumatized.
I believe people in both parties are guilty of intense rhetoric that really leads to, feed into these people who are deranged and create violence.
Authorities say the 42-year-old DePape was not known on any federal databases tracking threats, but they did say DePape posted conspiracy theories about COVID-19 vaccines and the 2020 election on Facebook. President Joe Biden commented over the weekend, blaming the assault on the spread of political misinformation.
We can't just say, I feel badly about the violence. We condemn it. Condemn what produces the violence. And this talk produces the violence.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Days after taking over Twitter, Elon Musk caused a stir Sunday when he tweeted a link to an article that made numerous false claims about Paul Pelosi. Musk deleted the tweet a few hours later, but it had already been retweeted around 30,000 times. The attack on Paul Pelosi has folks on the edge of their seat about the rise of politically motivated violence. With so much reaction pouring in, let's bring in Advocate Senior National Reporter Christopher Wiggin for more on this story. Christopher, thanks for joining me. Elon Musk brought Twitter recently, and soon after that, Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked inside his home. Can you tell me more about these stories and how they're connected?
So on Thursday, Elon Musk completed his purchase of Twitter. And then on Friday morning, there came news that Paul Pelosi, the Speaker of the House's husband, had been attacked inside his home. That story, of course, was very big around the world. And then Sunday morning, apropos of just about nothing, Elon Musk tweeted that there was a conspiracy possible of the Speaker's husband potentially having had a quarrel with a gay sex worker. And those then became swirling stories that became interconnected.
Well, Elon Musk has a large following on Twitter. What was the reaction to his tweet?
Well, so as you can imagine, the right wing was loving it because being mean is the point. It's the feature, not the bug. And the people on the left had been incredibly outraged, and from politicians to celebrities and just everyday users, people were wondering why this richest person in the world was buying the platform and immediately turning around and making such a ludicrous remark.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of outrageous things said and done in politics in recent years. Why is this incident getting a lot of attention?
Well, so in recent years, the amount of vitriol has really taken an uptick in the conversation, and political violence has been on the increase as well. And so, this having been, the story of the week being the fact that Twitter was bought, and then there's just this incredible attempted assassination attack, those two things then melded together. And because Elon Musk has such a large following, obviously the story just became a snowball then.
Yeah, and aside from him being the richest man in the world, why does it matter what Elon Musk does on Twitter?
Well, because so many people pay attention to him, right? So as I said, he has, more than 100 million followers on the platform. And so even though he, posted the tweet and, later on deleted it, he got the message out, right? And so the misinformation was already out there. So that spurs the rumor mill and the conspiracy theory land. And, once the bell is rung, it can't be unrung. So the damage was done.
Oh, well, we've been talking about false conspiracy theories aimed at Paul Pelosi, but what is the reality and how is he doing?
Well, so he was taken to the hospital immediately after the assault and had a injury to his. He had a cranial fracture, so his head basically broke, and he had to have surgery for that, and then had surgery to correct some injuries to his right arm and hand as well, apparently defensive wounds. He is in ICU. The speaker is in the hospital, and he is said to be in good spirits, and his cognitive abilities seem to also be fully intact.
Oh, well, it's a horrific crime. It's so sad that this is happening in politics these days. Well, thank you, Christopher, for taking the time, and let's hope him a quick recovery.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again to Christopher for joining me. For more on the Paul Pelosi situation, head to advocate.com. Meanwhile, with less than a week to go, the candidates are working to earn every last vote. Both parties appear to be counting on women at the voting booth. Republicans are hoping women who left the party under former President Donald Trump will lean into candidates who speak to their fears over safety and economy. Democrats are hoping undecided female voters will swing their way by concluding the GOP doesn't have a plan to fight inflation and its abortion stance is too extreme. In the 2018 presidential race, exit polls showed 59% of women supported Democrats and 40% supported Republicans. Today, conditions seem favourable for those women to back the GOP. Some of your favourite stars are getting into the Halloween spirit. Some are simple, some are extravagant, but all are fabulous. First up, Kerry Washington. She crushed it with this Lionel Richie costume. She posted the look to her Instagram, sporting Lionel's classic look from his album cover. Washington wrote in the caption, "Ready to embrace my kids all night long." Next up is Lizzo, and she went all in for this one, almost unrecognisable. The Grammy-winning artist dressed up as Marge Simpson, from the iconic blue hair to green dress and red shoes. No detail was missed with this costume. Well done, Lizzo. Last but not least, it's the Joker. While many have worn this costume over the years, I've not seen one quite like Diddy's. The mogul went full Joker with Heath Ledger look from The Dark Knight, and he certainly pulled it off. In his caption, he wrote the Joker's famous line, "Why so serious?" I absolutely love Halloween, and these costumes warmed my heart. That's all the time we have this week for Our World. The Advocate channel is streaming now on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, and Android TV. You can also download our app on your Android and Apple devices. I'm Stephen Walker. We'll see you next time.